Hello, today I'm going to be discussing why sound is so important in film openings. I think that sound's really important in film openings because it helps to set up the genre, the characters, the narrative, helps to raise enigmas, and gives you a sense of the setting and mood and atmosphere of a film. It's really important that you can get some of these ideas just from an opening and just from the sound. So an example of where character is set up really well in a film opening is the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Here you hear many sounds from the character, including sighing, and when he shoves the duvet off of his bed, it kind of suggests he's quite fed up and it's very dramatic and suggests he might be quite bored with his life, really. The sighing also shows he probably doesn't enjoy his life and he's quite tired and bored. So that introduces the character, but it also, the sounds are used to introduce the setting, as it shows that it's a man in everyday life. For example, with the birds, the trains, the cars, the traffic, the wind, just these general sounds that make it more realistic and make it generalisable to your own life. Another example is Juno. Here I think the character is introduced really well by the sound, because the sound is played over the top of the character walking along the street, and it shows her facial expressions, and it kind of shows that the song might actually be kind of coming from her. So it's maybe the music she might like, or a song that she is actually singing herself. I think it also helps to set up the mood and atmosphere, as it's quite a jolly song, so it shows it might be a happy film. And it also shows us the setting as well, because the genre, because it shows that it's probably a teen movie, because that's a song that teenagers are probably going to be more interested in, so it gives you an idea of the target audience. Another example is atonement. It begins with the sound of a typewriter, but when I first saw this film opening, I wasn't actually sure of what the sound was, so it begins to raise enigmas about what that sound is, whether it links to the storyline, and then of course you discover that it's likely that it will link to the storyline, and that the sound of the typewriter actually links to how the girl in the film might love writing as she finishes a story that she's written and is running to try and find her mum to show it to her. So this also gives you a sense of this character. It introduces her and that she might love writing and love stories, as well as also showing that it's probably set a while ago, as typewriters aren't really around anymore and they would be likely to have been used quite a while ago, so that sets up the era. And the narrative is also shown here, because it shows a girl who loves writing and gives an idea of the storyline ahead. We've also been learning quite a bit about Foley sounds, so we've realised that maybe sounds that you hear, such as someone getting off of their bed, the mattress springs would probably been remade, that sound, in a studio, so it wouldn't actually just be the person getting out of bed, because otherwise if they did that when filming, they would probably have quite a lot of interruptions with the sound, such as wind, and often in people's coursework I've seen examples where you can hear the wind and it doesn't really sound as high quality, so using Foley sounds is probably a good idea for my coursework. I had a go at making my own Foley sound, which was a monster running through a forest, just as a try. We used it by scrunching up paper and kind of just using any random ways to try and create this sound. So also using our vocals to kind of make the sound that a monster might, and obviously trying to make the noises of his feet thumping on the ground. And from doing this, I realised how easy it is to actually use your own voice and the things around you, such as paper, something so simple, to make quite a complicated sound. So I've realised that I don't have to just video something with the sound on. I can video something, take all of the sound off, and then recreate any of the sounds in that piece. So I'm going to play here my example of a Foley sound. So to conclude my research, I now know that in my film opening I will probably be likely to use many Foley sounds and not just keep the sound that I record from a camera and keep it all on. I'll take it all off and then reproduce any sounds that are made as professional ones would do, so that it looks more professional. I think I'll also take note of how relevant sound has to be to your film, and how it needs to help to give a sense of your genre, your characters, your narrative, so give a feel of what the storyline might be about, the setting, so if it is a normal everyday kind of experience in the film, to show signs such as birds, traffic, the general sounds that you would hear every day that you wouldn't really notice, just to make it more realistic, and also sound to give a mood and atmosphere, which I think from my research I found would usually be shown through music rather than dialogue, although it could be dialogue if I wanted to, but I think in my film opening I've now decided to set the mood and atmosphere, I'll probably use music. I think I'll also be unlikely to use much dialogue, as from the film openings I've seen they haven't really used much dialogue at all unless they have to. I think it helps to set the mood and atmosphere and introduce characters a lot more with sound, such as a piece of music, whether it's kind of got a happy atmosphere to it or a sad atmosphere, rather than using voice, because I don't think that's as successful. And also from other coursework examples I've seen where they have used voice, I think it looks quite unprofessional and doesn't really look very realistic, because maybe the voice might not be in sync with the words that you can see the person saying on screen.